This is Austin St. John, Jason, the original Red Ranger. You are watching the Morphin Network.
Carson's Corner is a black LGBTQ-owned small business. They sell merchandise and apparel on pop culture franchises such as Dragon Ball, King of the Hill, Sailor Moon, and of course and most importantly, Power Rangers. If you're interested in getting their amazing merch, be sure to check them out at carsoncorner.com. Link will be down below.
So as you can see, if you put the 3 batteries in line, this is called series, where now the voltage gets to be multiplied by the individual voltages. However, when you put them into separate lines, these are called parallels, which means that now the voltage is divided amongst the 3 different circuits. And that concludes our lecture on direct current. Join us next week as we will be discussing alternating currents and how to use the 3-finger rule in order to figure out the direction of magnetic fields. Wait, hold on. This isn't the right show. Why is George here?
Who's George? I'm not George. Now let me fix my tech.
Okay, what's going on here? Clearly we had our wires crossed and somehow 2 different podcasts just got intersected against each other.
Oh yeah.
All righty then. Well, since we're now clearing things up, now we know where we are. This is Ranger Podcast Live. We're doing Dino Fury episode 18, which of course is none other than one of our favorite episodes, Crossed Wires. And boy, do I have a couple of things to say about this episode. But first, YouTube, Facebook, comment section, let us know what you thought of the episode. And remember, keep it civil and don't go past this episode, because while the entire season is on Netflix, there are people who are watching this on Nickelodeon, so they're sticking to the Nickelodeon airing schedule. So keep that in mind. But now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, let's talk about the episode. So 30-second thoughts on the episode. Noemi, why don't you go first? What'd you think of the episode?
I would say this episode had a really good message, especially for those of us that are in school. There's a big lesson here to be learned, especially when it comes to Izzy, with her schooling and all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Clement, what did you think of the episode?
It is good. Plus, it delivers a good message that Noemi mentioned, and the thing is, just don't put yourself in a position where you feel like you're that confident, because if you're not open and telling and be honest about your own skill and ability, sooner or later, that confidence will bring you down. And that's a good example for Izzy, and she's my gal.
Right. For me, this episode opened up a lot of PTSD wounds for me, because, back in college, out of all the subjects in physics, EM was always the most difficult for me, especially, AC and DC and, capacitors, magnetic fields, that sort of thing. Even quantum theory was easier for me than this. So, but, I did have to study for a test after I graduated that involved electricity and magnetism, and I know where Izzy's coming from. But yeah, so there has been some crossing of wires happening behind the scenes. So we're going to do a speed review where we're unfortunately not going to have any photos up, and we're just going to have these 2 lovely Rangers quickly go through the summary, and then we will continue as we normally do. So who would like so let's see. Clement, why don't you go first, since Noemi went first the previous time?
All right, so in the beginning of our episode, we see Izzy and his girlfriend are just
Her
just
girlfriend.
what
Her girlfriend.
what's her girlfriend's name?
Fern.
Fern, yeah. Izzy and Fern just got out of class, and you know she was just thrilled and excited to take her electronics test, but Fern was just being there for her. If you need to read to, or basically study for the electronics test. She's there to help Izzy and giving her some studying tips. But she thinks that, oh, no, I think I got this. I got I got this test smooth and easily. But then her friends, the Rangers, they showed up, and Ollie did mention a thing about the electronics test. And who would have thought? Uh, who would have thought a smart guy like him could ace the electronics test while he's on a trekking journey or exploring journey with his mother, finding some kind of civilization or something
Mm-hmm.
while taking on online class. So yeah, I think Ollie can multitask, but it seems that when Ollie brought that news to Izzy was like, "Oh, really? Wow, you can actually do it." So when she already had that in mind, I can just look, but I can just look at Izzy's eyes and her expression. It means like, oh man, if you can do it, does that mean I can do it? Oh no, I'm spiraling. So, but as we move on, so as we move on, we go to the scene where wait, oh, shoot, oh man, gosh. Uh, okay, it's been a while. I've been remembering the Red Ranger's
Go on,
name.
you got this.
Yeah, you got this.
Kato?
So some monsters show up.
Oh no, wait, what was the Red Ranger's name?
Sato.
Zato?
Mhm.
So Zato, when he got a news from Solon that something is happening at Haverly Park, apparently everybody is all sleeping or completely knocked out, and they're trying to find out what is the main cause of turning all the people at the park all knocked out. And it turns out it was some kind of device that looks like a old what 19. It looks like a radio, doesn't it?
Half radio, half projector.
Ham radio.
Half radio, half projector. Something that is a crazy mix that was designed in the 1970s, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
All right, so they're trying to look for the source, and apparently that device that is laying around in the park's garden is the main source of it all. And wait, what's that?
And it
So-
started overloading.
Huh?
And it starts overloading.
Oh, it starts overloading, and is it while the rest of the team were trying to figure out like if there's a monster around the area that is the main cause of it.
Mhm.
What Izzy did was that she was trying to see if she can manage to like the bypass the capacitor or
Mhm.
something with Ollie's instruction, but when Ollie gave her the instruction, she accidentally removed this blue object out of the device, and the system starts overreacting, saying overload, 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 and then it just burst into this this stream like you see in Ghostbusters. This stream just shoots out and hit
Javi.
Javi and Ion.
Javi, and what is the Gold Ranger's name?
Ion.
Ion. So Javi and Ion, they're all been hit by the stream, and they are suffering the same like the rest of the people that were knocked out in the park. But
Mhm.
when that reacted, the whole innocent victims got back, but except Javi and Ion, they are both completely knocked out. So we don't know why. And when they're all knocked out, the rest of the Rangers, they're fighting off this monster. What is this? It's like an asteroid, right?
Mhm.
They call him Stone Beast, Stone Sport Beast.
Stone. Okay, so this Stone Sporg Beast, he's just like, hey, I thought you were going to sleep. So, what do you mean by sleep? Did he mean like he's some kind of an eclipse meteor stone monster? Maybe. No idea. And as the Rangers how do you say it? As the
Okay.
Rangers are fighting off the monster, they also found like the devices the same that is linked to the park as well.
Mhm.
So they found the device, so they decided to take it to the base and to do more study into it. And Izzy brought Javi and Ion back to the base as well to see what's going on. But while Solon is trying to work on the device, Tessa finally told the group, the teams, the truth. So in the beginning, she says she can ace this electronic test, but it turns out that she is hopeless when it comes to electronics. So what does this mean? I don't know what, but it seems it seems Izzy is like, she's a great student. She gets straight A's, but there is one side of her in the academic level that she is not very familiar with or comfortable with. That is electronics.
Mhm.
This means that there is some part of the Rangers that they're completely like not good at. That's
Yeah.
what makes us like relatable as humans. So what Izzy is that she's hopeless when it comes to electronics, and Ollie all of a sudden says, wait, how come you're not familiar with electronics? I told you not to do that. That's not how it works. You're not following my instructions. All right, I'm gonna go handle this. So in that scene, that is like, I understand where Ollie comes from, but I think it's a little bit harsh to say that to Izzy, because when she says hopeless, like she probably never worked with like complicated technology,
Mhm.
and that's fine. Like everybody else, there are some technologies we're familiar with, and there are things that we're not. But if we are willing to learn the complications of of something that we're not familiar with, it gives us like new ideas and new ways to come up to face those challenges. Because in life, we don't stop learning. We just keep learning, and if we do our best, sooner or later it'll go easy and everything will be smooth.
Okay, so Noemi, why don't you continue from here?
No problem. But first, I would like to actually say something in regards to how Ollie was a little bit harsh on Izzy. But I would say, like, one of the things that I thought was a good thing that he did, instead of like taking it out on Izzy, like he was able to have the opportunity to teach her. Because from what is said by Solon, like even though she took the tests, like the electronics tests, it might not be as helpful as she was expecting to be, especially the textbook. So when she said like a hand on hand, or basically like watching him or her do the generation of the sleep trap would make a difference, especially when it comes to learning about technology. So I think that was a really important feature, like when it comes to like teaching stuff and all. But anyway, so as Ollie and Izzy were working on this sleep trap, we're actually trying to reverse it, so it might make a difference on waking up Ion and Javi. We also lead up to another scene where it features Mucus and Void Knight, where they're actually trying to create something, possibly like another sleep trap. And then we encounter two new sports monsters, which happens to be the two brothers of the Stonehead Witch, Amelia calls it, of course. And apparently, I was really surprised by the scene, because I didn't know that the first Stonehead brother had like two other brothers, which apparently they're actually triplets. Like obviously one is like grieving over the death of his brother, while the second one was actually like, they want to take revenge on him for what the Rangers did to him. And not to mention that Amelia was actually taking the Sporg back to base. So that's when Void Knight actually sent them to attack the Rangers and also plan that special project that they were doing that. So leading up to back at the Stonehenge base, they actually were able to reverse the sleep trap. And from there, thanks to Tessa, who was learning by Ollie, they were able to wake Hobby and Ion up. And it was really funny, that scene, because like when Hobby was barely waking up, he was like, "Oh no, Dad, I want to sleep more." I mean, that little scene, he actually felt embarrassed. And I'm pretty sure like when we get up, like, you know, we're all into that phase. But as it was cut a little short from the little conversation, even though they just woke up, they actually got a notification, or actually an alert, that there was another Sporks monster in around the valley. So there, the Rangers encountered the two remaining brothers, I should say, with the sleep bomb. And it was set by, I believe, 30 minutes, if I remembered. But yeah, and after that, like, you know, the Rangers were off fighting not only the two remaining Stonehead brothers, but also the henchmen. And Ollie, you know, being the professional of technology, you know, tries to deactivate the bomb. And apparently there was another sleep trap out there, and poor Ollie fell asleep. So guess who has to be the hero? Obviously Izzy. And at the same time, like, you know, based on what Ollie taught Izzy, she was hoping like she could be able to do it herself, while the other guys, the other Rangers, were trying to defeat the two brothers. And that's when, lo and behold, the two Stonehead brothers actually got bigger. And leading up to the Rangers summoning their Megazords, yeah, it leads to a whole new battle. And of course, back to Izzy, where she's trying to figure out how to deactivate the bomb and all. And obviously it was like, you know, with the time remaining, like it was stressing her out. But she was keeping cool and calm. And while during the fight, the Megazord fight, like the Rangers were able to battle against them. But knowing that they're strong enough, they actually the two Stonehead brothers actually combined together. And that reference actually reminded me so much of Dragon Ball. Like, instead of like the fusion, how like they just like that make it into an even bigger monster. And besides, they're not the only ones that actually did that technique, but also the Rangers combining their Megazords together brings to a much bigger Megazord. So from there on, they were able to fight into one Megazord and one monster, I should say, and the Dino Fury victory. And which also leads back to Izzy, who's still working on the bomb. And that scene really stressed me out, because like the time remaining, because basically when there's like time involved when it comes to like, you know, deactivating bombs or like timers or anything in particular, like, you know, it kind of becomes more stressful because you never know if it's going to blow or if it's going to go off. But luckily, Izzy was so calm and she was able to deactivate the sleeping bomb, and she basically saved everyone from falling into a deep sleep. And of course, thanks with the Rangers, like they were really proud of her for what she's done, especially with Ollie's help, which made a difference. And not to mention Ion being so funny and all, he asked the Rangers who's going to wake up the sleeping Bluey or Bluey, whatever it is. That was really funny. And Zayto didn't understand like the whole Earth jokes and all, but I really liked that. It was really funny. And of course, with the last scene, we not only encountered Pop, you know, blow drying the high school, but also Izzy got an A. Yay! Oh, you know, I'm really proud of her character, because, you know, even though like, you know, she has a hard time, you know, focusing on something that's really important, even though she's a really good student now, but like there's some things that she really needs to like improve more. And of course, asking for help doesn't hurt at all, you know. And not to mention, like, lying about it, also no bueno at all, because, like, what happened to her.
Okay, so that's the plot summary of the current episode of Power Rangers Dino Fury Crossed Wires. And, of course, now we go to the plot summary. Plot critique section. And since you have the floor, why don't you go first?
Of course. I would say, like I was mentioning before, definitely a good message. I like the way how it involves like a teaching, not only teamwork, but also a teaching matter. Because Ollie, he was a really good tutor for Izzy to learn about the whole technology stuff, especially even though it's like alien technology, she still managed to like catch up a little bit and also ace her exam. So I believe, you know, having Ollie as a tutor was a really brilliant idea for her to, you know, keep up with her studies.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what score would you give it out of 10?
I would give it 8 out of 10.
All right, all right. Okay, Clement, your turn. What do you think of the episode? Likes, dislikes, and score out of 10.
I give this episode an 8 out of 10, and what I like about the episode is there's the monster does have a twin, so more double the power and double the fight scene is, and I do like the fusion part of in the Megazords, and I like where we see like Izzy does have a struggling side when it comes to her academics. So at first I thought she was a great student, a straight A, athletic, smart, very socializing student at school. But it turns out she does have something that she's not good at. That is electronics. So I get to see something that is like the imperfect side of her. So that is good because we all can relate to something that we're very imperfect at. So yeah, so I give it an 8 out of 10. But what I don't like about the episode is I like, again, Ollie can be a little bit harsh. I didn't like that part, but hey, that's him. That's the character. But I'm fine with that. So I just wanted like Ollie, like he's been friends with the Rangers for a while, and I was just hoping like he would be like that kind of friend to like willing to help out and teach Izzy. But when he talked to Izzy like that, that is a little bit off. So
Okay, so what score would you give it out of 10?
8. An 8 out of 10. Great episode.
Mhm.
It's a good academic life lesson. So that's good.
Right. So my thoughts on the episode. Keep in mind, almost 2 years ago, I had to worry about this.
Oh.
What?
Knowing me, math is my weakness.
gibberish.
Math
Same
is my
thing.
weakness.
This is the same thing that Izzy had to study.
Oh.
Except I had to do this on a graduate level, and as I said before, this is actually my weakest subject in physics. I mean, generally I'm not good at physics, but I can at least deal with Newtonian mechanics, waves, light, optics, thermodynamics, mostly from the chemistry side, not the physics side. But EM is the hardest subject for me. Surprisingly, I my evaluation was 4 out of 4 for the physics portion. I was just really surprised. So I can actually relate. I can very much relate to Izzy in this episode, which actually goes back to what I said about Izzy, like several reviews ago, in the episode where Slither disguised himself as Adrian. There's like a lot of things about Izzy that one can relate to, and this is one of those things because as good of a student as one might think I am, I'm actually terrible at EM, and I actually appreciate that the lesson here is that there are different kinds of learners. Some are visual, some are auditory, and some are kinesthetic, and I'm a kinesthetic learner. I learn more about medicine by dissecting cadavers than by looking at textbooks. And same thing applies with Newtonian mechanics and EM, etc. And I appreciate how like they were working on that, and I appreciate that Ollie got his comeuppance a little bit in the fact that there are different ways of learning, and sometimes you have to be more patient with others. I love that both Fern and Pop Pop showed up this episode because, as I was saying, I like to see a lot of recurring characters show up and actually be part of the community, not just the Rangers are just in a bubble in the setting and then stage select fighting monsters in a quarry. I appreciate that. I mean, this also means I would like to see more scenes with Adrian and other characters, but I'm glad to see Pop Up and Fern show up and not just be one-off characters again. With that said, I give this episode a 9 out of 10 just because Izzy's that relatable. This episode, and it is what it is. So okay, so let's do the prompt questions. So Noemi, what do you think about the lesson about people learning better through different methods of studying? like visual versus auditory versus kinesthetic?
Gee, that's a really good one. I would say, God, it's actually hard to put into words, but like I would say, like it kind of connects with the better. Oh, it kind of connects a lot better with the concept of what this episode is trying to address, and not only with the message and also like every scene that was shown, like kind of provide like a really good example for not only adults but also kids out there who are trying to like learn different methods. And I think the creators actually did a really good job with that, and they actually prioritized something that is more important that most everybody that also go through, especially in not only high school, middle school, elementary, but also college, of course. And when it's actually focused on high school, like I think it kind of fits the better picture.
Mm-hmm. All right, and Clement, what do you think? How do you feel about the inclusion of all these side characters that we've seen every once in a while in past episodes? Now we're seeing more because, like this episode, we did get Izzy and Javi's dad. We got Fern, and we got Pop.
It's good that we're seeing them again because, like, because our Rangers, they there's a connection for each people that they like interact. Like the side characters they interact is also part of their journey and part of their story. Like Fern, she is now important to Izzy's story. Pop is also very important to Amelia's story, and like Izzy and Javi's dad, the park ranger, he's also important. So it's good to bring back the recurring characters once in a while because we like the stories to be more. We like the stories to expand more rather than just focusing on like the Rangers, like little social group.
Because they're part of a community, not just
Exactly.
not just field select.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's go straight to the comments. We'll try to go through these real quick. Edward Sanchez says, "I love the scene with Ollie and Izzy." Yes, I love it too. And again, parallels versus series. Make sure you learn those because that's really important for understanding Ohm's law. Kent says, "Hi everyone. Explain later, but the show much more direct with Izzy than I thought it'd be." Huh, interesting. Let's see. Thomas Franco says, "Hey, what are your what do you think about the leaks and rumors of season 2 of Dino Fury?" I don't think this video is the best place to talk about that. We might do it in a later video. Thank you for asking, but we'll probably discuss those in a later video. Oh, who's this? It's Mr. Wiz.
Hi,
Mr. He's quietly watching from the shadows. Great to see y'all. Enjoy your review. I appreciate it so much having you watch our show. It means a lot to us. And of course, I hope you come back to enjoy for future episodes of our show as well. Let's see. Zato and Amelia with the pancakes was awesome. Yes, it was.
Pancakes.
Okay, now I'm craving for pancakes now.
I'm still a waffle person personally.
I'm really craving again.
Okay. That's pretty much it for the comment section. It was a pretty short episode, and of course, Clement, where can they find you?
Oh, you guys can find me on Instagram. Just look at this. CDOT1031, that's my Instagram. So I'm easily to find, and also I'm hanging around the Morphin Network. So come look for me.
Okay, and Noemi, where can they find you?
You wonderful people can find me on my Instagram, Bride of Spider-Man, my YouTube channel, Cosplay Chica 101, and also my Twitch and TikTok, which is under the same name of my Instagram. Where can they find you, Kabuto?
And of course, you could find me on Instagram at Chrono_just_cosplay. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/BokenKabuto. And of course, you can join. Okay, you can please follow, like, and subscribe us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, ding the bell icon on YouTube because the YouTube algorithm sporks are always crossing our wires. And of course, if you like this review, please be sure to check out our past episodes reviews if you haven't done so already. Tomorrow we will be doing 3 videos, Rider Time podcast for the last week's episode of Revice. Sentai Hero special with Zenkaiger, with this guy over here, and of course the recent Hasbro announcements that have been made, and we'll be discussing those as well. And of course, check out our recent interview with Fake Aiden from Ninja Steel, so be sure to check that out. With all that said, guys, thank you all for watching, and we hope to see you all tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.
Carson's Corner is a black LGBTQ owned small business. They sell merchandise and apparel on pop culture franchises such as Dragon Ball, King of the Hill, Sailor Moon, and of course and most importantly, Power Rangers. If you're interested in getting their amazing merch, be sure to check them out at carsoncorner.com. Link will be down below.